All right. So welcome back, everyone, to session 2. This is going to be a session that provides an overview of USDA resources. The title actually says program agencies, resources for program agencies, but actually the session is meant to be much broader than that. It's meant to be resources for anybody, including researchers who are interested in doing analysis or understanding the impacts of programs that USDA offers. And we're going to be providing kind of an overview of USDA in this session. I'm going to handle the first part, and along with Sarah Campbell, who will be handling the second part. And if you've been with us since the beginning, you saw Undersecretary Northey with the farm production and conservation area in the keynote, who talked about the different sorts of programs that different agencies, the Farm Service Agency, Natural Resources Conservation Service, Risk Management Agency, what sort of programs are put in place by those agencies for beginning farmers and ranchers. And you also heard from Deputy Undersecretary Scott Hutchins, who talked about the research, education, and economics. So what Sarah and I are going to do are drill down just a little bit deeper into those sorts of offerings. So I'm going to handle first the research, education, and economics area, and Sarah's going to talk about the farm production and conservation area. So I want to, I hope that everybody had a good networking session. I was in a very lively discussion of entry into beginning farmers and ranchers and how to work with them. And I hope you also managed to make contact with some other people. I can testify that really in my day-to-day, I would not have met these individuals. And it was really exciting to chat with people who are providing some of these frontline services and demanding some of these frontline services. It was great opportunity for me. What we hope to do in this session is maybe do something that probably normally only happens at the local level, where you actually get to meet some of the service providers that can provide information on beginning farmers and ranchers. And I'm not aware of this happening at the national level otherwise, but what we're going to be doing is talking and introducing you to subject matter experts in the area of beginning farmers and ranchers at USDA. So let's get started in the presentation. The first one, I do apologize for this, there couldn't be a drier opening than to show an organizational chart. But what I want to do is just provide maybe a high level overview of the agencies that I'm involved in most, and the ones I'm going to be talking about today. But these are the Deputy Undersecretary Hutchins's kind of area of responsibility. You have the Agricultural Research Service, the Economic Research Service, the Office of the Chief Scientist. When Deputy Undersecretary Hutchins talked about the science blueprint, he mentioned the Office of the Chief Scientist, and the National Agricultural Statistics Service and the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. And you heard from Parag Chitnis, who is the administrator for NIFA earlier this morning. So I work in the Economic Research Service, and the part of our mission that's probably most relevant for beginning farmers and ranchers is to provide objective economic research to inform and enhance public and private decision making. So our reports and our analysis and our outlook is certainly has a broad group of stakeholders that includes beginning farmers and ranchers, but it also includes stakeholders upstream and downstream from production agriculture. So those that provide inputs into the agricultural sector, including credit, including land owners and landlords, and those who facilitate the distribution chain. So including things like local foods. If you were in the previous session, you heard Nigel Key, who spoke about beginning farmers and ranchers and access to credit, where he used some data from the agricultural census, the 1997, 2000, I'm sorry, 2007, 2012, and 2017 agricultural census. The economists who work for ERS will use the agricultural census in their work quite a bit. We also have the Agricultural Resources Management Survey, which is an annual survey of farmers. And a lot of our analysis comes from that. We have a publication called America's Diverse Family Farms that talks about farms of different sizes in different parts of the country and different commodity specializations. So we create and distribute data and create reports. Scott Callahan will be speaking later, and he is the economist who has been involved in 2 of our congressional mandated studies that came out of the 2018 Farm Bill. As Dr. Hutchins mentioned, there was section 12507 and 12607. The first one had to do with absentee landlords, and the second one has to do with land access. And Scott will be presenting some preliminary findings on the land access report. The absent landlord report has been transmitted to Congress, and you can find that it has been released. So a couple of resources that I'll mention is we have in our the ERS networking booth, we highlight a couple of publications and websites that are shown here. So next slide. Another REE agency is the National Agricultural Statistics Service, and Virginia Harris is going to be in the networking booth in the next session. You'll be able to talk to her about activities of NASS related to assessing the demographics and population of, as reported in the 2017 Census of Agriculture. They do have some highlights publications that I would refer you to. One is on farm producers and one is on young producers. So oftentimes we think about NASS as the agency that's delivering us the data. The Census of Agriculture is really the only source of information that provides details on agricultural producers all the way down to the county level. So clearly an important role and an important source of data. But the thing that I'd like to highlight is when you are going to gather this data, the success is really reliant on how you ask the question, where you look, and who you ask. And NASS is the expert in carrying out that mission. They've taken on some very big challenges in terms of, they've already been brought up. How do you reach people in urban areas? How do you reach people that haven't participated in programs before? And NASS has just done an admirable job of trying to come up with questions to elicit the sort of information that we need in order to understand the important aspects of the distribution of beginning farmers and ranchers. Next slide, please. The National Institute for Food and Agriculture, their mission is to invest and advance agricultural research, education, and extension to solve societal challenges. Dr. Chitnis talked about the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, and you'll be able to catch up with Dennis Abodage and Desiree Rucker, who are both involved in the Beginning Farmer Rancher Development Program. They provide grants to organizations for education, for mentoring, and technical assistance. And the program has been around for a number of years, and they can explain what the outcomes have been and how they interact with farmer groups in every state in the United States. Next slide. So the Agricultural Research Service is located throughout the U.S. Their mission is to develop scientific solutions to national and global agricultural challenges. You can talk to Sarah Bebout and Stephanie Pearl on the research of the Agricultural Research Service. And I think that one of the most relevant areas for beginning farmers and ranchers is the focus on sustainable intensification. So they can talk about all the research that gets carried out and how that feeds into meeting the goal of sustainability for USDA. Next slide. So this is outside of the REE area. But I would like to highlight the work of the Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement. This office runs a number of programs related to beginning farmers and ranchers. As a counterpart or as a supplement, complementary to NIFA's Beginning Farmer and Rancher Grant Program, they run a program on outreach and assistance to socially disadvantaged and veteran farmers and ranchers. So this is also sometimes called the 2501 program. And we have Kenya Nicholas, who is in the subsequent or in the display booth in the session that follows. You can catch up with her to learn about this program. You can also talk to her about the Socially Disadvantaged Policy Research Center. This is a research center that's administered by Alcorn State University. And it's also in the Office of Partnerships and Public Engagement, where all advisory committee activities are carried out on behalf of USDA. And we do have a Beginning Farmer and Rancher Federal Advisory Committee, and you can hear about the activities of that committee if you follow up with Kenya. Next slide, please. So also outside of REE, but I wanted to make sure we talk about it because it's so important, it's been brought up multiple times already, is the direct marketing activities that go on by beginning farmers and ranchers. And the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service is the one that's tasked with understanding and developing local and regional food systems. So the Agricultural Marketing Service administers programs that create domestic and international marketing opportunities for U.S. producers. And they're involved in a variety of activities related to rules, regulations, news about markets, specialty crops, the National Organic Program, and transportation and marketing. So one of the bright spots and key areas for local and regional food systems, this was highlighted by President Rogie Fidler in the keynote, are direct marketing and local regional food systems. So Juliana Arnett is going to be available and can talk to you about local and regional foods. She's a policy advisor in the area with the USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to, I have one more, sorry. USDA Rural Development. Rural Development Office within the USDA, the agency, I feel like they're definitely somebody that you want to talk to if you're interested in understanding more about services related to broadband, the value-added producer grant program, all cooperative services. The rural development is helping improve the economy and quality of life in rural America. Undersecretary Northey talked about rural development as also being one of the focus areas for the beginning farmer and rancher coordinator positions, the state positions. They're ones who can definitely help in helping to promote the programs that rural development has in place. Within rural development, there's the Rural Business Cooperative Services. the Rural Housing Service, and the Rural Utilities Service. And we have 3 representatives of rural development who are going to be participating in the USDA networking session after this one, including Caroline Evans, Steve Mosher, and Ann Herring. So next slide. And Sarah, why don't you take it from here?
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Campbell. I'm the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Program Coordinator here at USDA. And I'm going to talk you through some of the resources that we have for beginning farmers and ranchers and a couple of other things, and share a little bit about our program here at the department when it comes to beginning farmers. But wanted to share a little bit before I get into that about the Office of Urban Agriculture and Innovation. This comes out of the 2018 Farm Bill, and this is a new office within USDA that focuses on urban agriculture as well as innovative production. So we're talking about indoor growing, all some of these hydroponic, aquaponics, some of the sort of new emerging sectors of agriculture that we are seeing increasingly in urban areas. But we are going to have Joe Heller in our session after this, who will be able to share a lot of really great information. And he's been an integral part of standing up this new office. But just a couple of highlights is the Office of Urban Ag and Innovation does have a competitive grants program to support urban agriculture. They have established a new or establishing a federal advisory committee. And we now have, through the Farm Service Agency, urban and suburban county committees. So this means that urban farmers will help administer and oversee the delivery of farm programs through the Farm Service Agency. They do a lot of stakeholder engagement and work with partner organizations and make policy recommendations and resource recommendations to assist urban producers within USDA. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the FPAC, which is the Farm Production and Conservation Mission Area. I think about this mission area as sort of they're the front lines. These are the agencies that deliver programs and resources directly to farmers and ranchers, particularly beginning farmers. There are 4 agencies in the mission area. One of them is the Business Center, which houses a number of divisions. And basically what they do is they provide mission support for all of the other agencies. And they also house the Customer Experience Division, which is customer experience has been an important focus within USDA, and particularly within FPAC. The Undersecretary earlier this morning talked about farmers.gov and a lot of our efforts to continue to deliver programs and do that faster, easier, make things easier for staff and employees. So that's part of their work. And then we have FSA, NRCS, and RMA, which I'm going to talk about in a second. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the FPAC Customer Experience Division, they focus on internal and external customer needs. So we're talking about farmers and ranchers as well as employees across the mission area. They've got a couple of really unique programs that they run and some cool innovative things that they're doing. They have a Customer Experience Enhancement Committee, which is a committee comprised of field employees from different agencies across the mission area and all across the country, and they come together and make recommendations and problem solve around customer experience. So it's this kind of grassroots effort that is employee driven to improve customer experience, and they have developed and completed the first annual Farmer, Rancher, and Forest Land Owner Customer Service Survey. So this is really important. And we have Lori Snow and Danielle Deemer, who are customer experience specialists, who will be available to you all to talk a bit about this survey. But I'm really excited about this survey personally. This is going to be the beginning of an ongoing effort to gather experience level data, and we'll be able to get some good insights about beginning farmers and ranchers and what they expect and what happens when they come to our service centers and enroll in our programs and apply. Next slide, please. So FSA, Farm Service Agency, they provides working capital and disaster assistance to farmers. So this is really critical to beginning farmers, especially because the agency provides a safety net as well as capital. FSA is the lender of first opportunity for producers who aren't eligible for commercial credit. So A lot of beginning farmers who might not be able to get a loan elsewhere can get started with FSA, and they have a variety of loan programs starting with microloans, so that's loans up to $50,000, $100,000 loans, all the way to guaranteed loans, so beginning farmers who are getting into larger businesses, and we can underwrite those loans and guarantee them, for over $1 million. So folks who are engaging in sort of larger enterprises and larger scale agriculture. We've got a lot of disaster programs. I always tell beginning farmers, if you have a loss, call your local office because there's something for everyone. FSA has a lot of programs, so I'm not going to go through the laundry list, but also want to highlight that FSA does a lot of great work with regards to program education and outreach. Our team here in Washington, D.C. works really hard to support field staff and making sure that we're reaching beginning farmers and working with stakeholders and really partnering at the local level to make sure that beginning farmers are aware of the resources that FSA has to offer. Next slide, please. And I forgot to mention Lindsay Mutegi is a National Outreach Office employee, and she's going to be available to answer questions, and we'll be able to talk to you all about the resources that FSA has, both for organizations and producers. And NRCS is another really important agency when it comes to beginning farmers. The FSA and NRCS are kind of often the gateway for beginning farmer participation in USDA programs. And NRCS focuses on conservation. So they provide technical assistance, they provide financial assistance to farmers and ranchers to help them better steward their lands and implement conservation activities, help them develop conservation plans. They also oversee and implement the high tunnel cost share program. So this is what brings a lot of beginning farmers to USDA, is because through EQIP they learn that they can get season extension tools and resources, and NRCS helps administer that, and has gotten a lot of farmers started. And just like FSA, NRCS works with stakeholders and organizations and has a lot of involvement at the local level as well as national. Next slide, please. And then RMA is the last agency in the mission area I'm going to talk to you all about. It's the Risk Management Agency. And the Risk Management Agency really focuses on risk management. So they provide a couple of programs, including the Whole Farm Revenue Protection Program, as well as administer and oversee the crop insurance program. So they underwrite those providers, those authorized insurance providers who sell and service federal crop insurance policies, and maintain that list. And they have a regional structure. And we have Mandy Walton, who's going to be available to answer questions about RMA and the resources that the agency has. Next slide, please. So just to share a little bit more about the work that we do here at USDA with beginning farmers and ranchers and my role, I think you've probably gathered that this is a very vast network and array of programs and resources across the department, and there is not just one agency doing the work. It's truly department-wide. I help coordinate that and try to track on those things in my role, but also oversee and lead a lot of the field-based work, because we have so many programs that are delivered directly to beginning farmers and ranchers. We need a wide network at the local level, and we leverage FPAC's extensive field structure and the thousands of offices that they have locally to administer those programs and make sure we're reaching farmers and ranchers. Here at headquarters, we also have 3 regional beginning farmer and rancher coordinators. So they are part of our team and they help support that national network. As the Undersecretary mentioned, we now have a beginning farmer state coordinator in every state. So these folks lead the efforts at their state level. They help write a plan, they coordinate with other agencies, they collaborate, they work with outreach staff, and they also, most importantly, provide technical assistance to beginning farmers who are starting to navigate USDA and might be doing it for the first time. We really want to see beginning farmers leveraging all of USDA's resources. That is how we can be most supportive and effective, is by helping them layer programs and use those in a complementary way. And so our staff can help beginning farmers identify the programs that might help them grow or start their operations, and where there might be opportunities to knit those things together. And the state coordinators also work with stakeholders at the local level. We know that not everybody knows they can come to USDA, and so we have to kind of hit the pavement, get the word out, collaborate with stakeholders, and that also organizations have really important and trusted relationships in their local communities with farmers, and that we need to work with them effectively and keep them in the loop and make sure they're aware of all the programs and resources. So when farmers come to them, they can get the same information that they can get from us. In that regard, I would say I just want to highlight again farmers.gov. This is where we bring it all together and all the resources live. And farmers.gov/new farmers is the website where you can find the list of state coordinators and a bunch of other information about programs for new farmers. And that is all I have for you all. And I think it's time to take some questions.
Thanks, Sarah. So this is Jeff again. We did get a question about tools that are recommended for communicating to entrepreneurs the potential gaps in the market, crops in high demand and low supply. That's a great question, and I was looking at it at first from the perspective of, if I'm a producer, how do I know what's in high demand and low supply? And I would say that the one of the tools there would be the services of the Ag Marketing Service and the work that they do in studying local foods. But the other thing that occurred to me is that what tactics that purchasers use in a lot of parts of agriculture is contracting. And this is maybe not directly related to the question about communicating, but I think it is worth noting that there are certain sectors of agriculture where almost all of the production is done under contracts. And I'm not talking about the production contracts where an integrator may own the thing that you're producing, like a lot of hog production and poultry production is done through production contracts. I'm talking more about marketing contracts, which is a contract that will that a purchaser signs with a producer to deliver a commodity with certain specifications at a certain time period, and may include other characteristics related to quality and price. But I'd just point out that all tobacco is done under marketing contracts. Almost all sugar beets are done under marketing contracts. And there are just a number of commodities that have, particularly specialty crops, which have gone over to that. So I would look at contracting as a way to bring together supply and demand for particular commodities. If you haven't looked at it before, there are lots of examples of how these contracts can be written and what they include. All right. So that's the only question that I saw, and would like to invite people to go now to the USDA networking session where you can link and touch base with all the people that we've mentioned so far, and really get to know some of the